This is Express Leads. Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, so you know what that means. It's time to drop another episode of Express Leads. My name's Paul Brady, and I'll be your host. And today we're going to talk about how to quickly grow your email list using solo ads. Now, before I jump in, I'm a little excited about this episode because although I've had a nice mic, and I know I talk about this in my previous podcasts, I actually got a boom arm for the mic, and now I'm actually using the mic properly. Now, I knew all along I was supposed to do this, but it's part laziness and part didn't want to go out and spend more money on equipment. But you know what? You gotta make things happen sometimes. So I wanted the podcast to sound the best it could. I wanted my voice to sound like it wasn't in a. I don't think the previous episode sounded bad naturally, but I didn't want it to sound like I was, in comparison. Listening to this, it sounds like I was kind of in an echo or a cavernous room in the other ones. The Blue Yeti mics are excellent, but you still have to use them properly as far as settings and all that. So, all that aside, let's jump right in here. So, how to quickly grow your email list using solo ads. So what's a solo ad and how does it work? I know I talk to clients all the time about this, and they're like, what the heck's a solo ad? And I say, well, listen, think of it this way. A solo ad's just an email campaign that you're sending out to a niche list of folks that you want to identify. So if you're in real estate, you want to identify buyers, right? So that would be your niche list. And it's someone that it's a list that you don't own. So basically, you're renting this list from someone else in your industry or tangentially involved in your industry so that you can send targeted promotions. So, creating and growing a targeted email list is vital to any successful internet sale, business, or promotion. And having said that, a clear benefit to solo ads, in addition to everything else, is that they're far more economical for smaller businesses than pay-per-click ads, because some of the money you spend on pay-per-click ads is money that's directed at trying to define and narrow a super targeted audience for your niche, for whatever your business is, right? And in the case of pay-per-click, you have to go through and filter out people. You're going to get people that aren't as targeted because no matter how targeted you try to be, Facebook over the years has removed a lot of the specific targeting, and it's probably going to get worse as time goes on. So, if you say, I only want to identify buyers, well, it's not impossible, and you can do that on Facebook and Google, and it still is effective. But depending on your business, sometimes a solo ad makes more sense. So having said that, let's examine that. Let's jump into that a little bit more. Do solo ads work for your business in particular? And I think the short answer is yes. But the longer answer is more complicated. So why does it work? It works because almost any business can use or rent a mailing list that is for someone that is either in or tangentially involved in your industry. So, if you're a nonprofit and you're in a certain business and you want to identify something, it might be more challenging for you to use a solo ad. People may come in and say, well, this is great. I sell XYZ widget that no one else in the world makes, and I want to promote that using solo ads. Well, you might have a hard time finding a list of people on a solo ad provider that addresses your niche. Whereas for other people, it's super easy. So if you're a person that is an affiliate marketer, if you're a person that's interested in selling products that help people make money online, or services or coaching or something like that. There are lots of solo ad providers that deal with affiliate marketing, that deal with network marketing or MLM. There are tons of people that deal with the health and wealth sector. So if you're into weight loss, if you're into exercise, if you're into personal training, if you're into a lot of those things, right? And you have products that you can promote online and sell to people, then, solo ads are a perfect fit for you. the make money online niche, the health and so the wealth. I think the specific sectors are wealth, health, and there's others as well. But what if you don't fit into that? And this is part of the longer answer, right? What if I say, look, I don't fit into that. I'm an economic nonprofit, and my message is addressing income inequality. Well, how do I do that? If you go to different solo ad providers, which we'll get into in a second, they don't provide that type of a list. So how do you do it? Well, go back to our original description, our definition here, right? You're basically renting lists from someone that's in your industry or tangentially involved in your industry in order to send targeted promotions. So what you could do is you could yourself reach out directly to people that are in those industries and offer to buy, to rent their list for one or two mailings. And what happens is that when you do that, you're not just sending an email out to people to say, buy my products. You're sending an email out. There is a strategy here, right? So you're sending an email out to people on these rented lists to opt into your mailing list. The same exact strategy you'd use with a pay-per-click ad on Facebook or Google, right? If you're a dog walker, if you're, a person that has your own products that you sell in a store or sell online, you want to get people to opt into your email list. So you send them to a landing page. That's where you're driving the traffic to, whether it's from a solo ad or Google. You send them to a landing page that asks for their email address. Now, traffic you're renting becomes traffic you own. And I've talked about that before. That's super important because once you own that traffic, you can go back to that. You can dip into that, your toes in the water of that well over and over and over again because you own it. So, long and short answers. Yes, it works for every business, but the longer answer is more complicated. If you're in somewhere where it's not easy to find a solo ad provider, then you have to do the legwork up front. Is it possible? Yes, it is. And I've worked with some clients and talked to them about that. And it's just a matter of whether they want to do the work or not. If you're in a niche where you go to a solo ad provider and it's easy to use them because your niche fits well with them, well, then that's super easy to do. So if you don't want to put the work in, then I would suggest that you don't do a solo ad if you don't fit into some of these easier niches. But then it gets into something else because a lot of people ask this too. It's like, well, what happens if I don't really have a business? I want to start online. I want to promote my business. I don't have a lot of money. I have a limited budget. How do I do that? Well, that's a lot of things to take on and do. But is it doable? Absolutely, it's doable. People do it all the time. So, what if you don't have a business to promote? Common question. That's easy. You find the best offer for your business on directories or sites like ClickBank is an example. And ClickBank just is a place where you can find offers to promote. But there are also, software as a service operations that have, affiliate programs. So like ClickFunnels, GetResponse, people like Anthony Morrison himself has tons of offers. Franklin Hatchett has offers to promote his courses and training. There really isn't too much trouble finding things to promote, right? You just have to know where to look. ClickBank is a great place for new people to start because there's lots of offers and there's tons of videos on YouTube that go through and show you the best way, how to find the best offers on ClickBank, right? So if you don't have a business and you want to say, you don't have a large budget, then finding offers to promote on ClickBank and then using solo ads to drive traffic to those offers and landing pages so that you own that traffic again is a great way to start making money. And so when you promote things like things off of ClickBank, there's usually recurring. There can be recurring monthly money that you can make from doing that. There's also income that you can make from just single one-offs. So someone might have something where they offer 40% off of whatever someone buys, right? off your offer that you're promoting on their behalf through ClickBank. And so you get that, and it's like, great. But if you think about it, you want recurring income, right? You want recurring revenue. So you can look at offers that promote things that pay you monthly. And for instance, things like ClickFunnels, talking about SaaS or software as a service products. ClickFunnels and GetResponse are the same way. ClickFunnels, it's up to 40%, and they'll provide. So if someone subscribes to ClickFunnels monthly, you get 40% of that subscription cost sent back to you from ClickFunnels. So same thing with GetResponse, same thing with a lot of other products. It's not just limited to those two. I just talk about them a lot because I use them and I recommend things that I use. So having said all that, and we're talking about these lists, we're talking about how we get them. How do you find these lists? How do you find the right list of prospects? So there are services out there. There's things like trafficforme.com I've used, Udemy, and that's kind of a funny spelling, UDIMI, udimi.com, Udemy. And they both provide solo ad lists for people to search and find and reach out to people that are providing them, ask them questions, look at reviews to see how they're rated. They're pretty good. You can also go for solo ad testimonials on Facebook groups. And so what I mean by that is if you go on Facebook and you go into groups and just do a search in groups for solo ads testimonials, there are tons of lists on there for that. So just join a few, check a few, see which ones you like, see which ones you don't like. The ones with the larger lists tend to be the ones that are more active. Not always true, but worth checking out if you're new. And then what happens is, right, it's like social proof. And we all do it, right? You go to Amazon to buy something and you're not sure. And so you look at the comments. You look at the star rating. Oh, it got 4 out of 5 stars and these people really liked it. Okay, there's a little more social proof here. I think I'm going to buy this. Same exact thing. If you're talking about, solo ad testimonials, it's just people saying, hey, I use this guy's, I rented this guy's lists to drive targeted traffic for the weight loss niche to my landing page. I got a 40% sign up, opt-in rate, and I got 5 sales. That's stuff that's tracked and you can look at it and they talk about it. People talk about how many sales they get. Actually, Udemy does the same thing. You go on Udemy, they list who the people are to get sales. Now, Traffic for Me, now I talk about it, and I have used it in the past, but full disclosure, I've only done opt-ins. I haven't done sales through them, so I don't know how effective they are at getting you sales. Part of it is that and by the way, I understand this, but sometimes the problem is that people, and this applies to a lot of things, but people use a solo ad and then they'll say, oh, I used a solo ad and I didn't get anything. I didn't get any opt-ins. The solo ad must stink. This must be a ripoff. Not true. Not true. Not all the time anyways. So if you're someone who has created an effective landing page with a good headline, good copy on it, again, same exact thing happens in Google ads or Facebook ads. If you're driving traffic from a Google ad or a Facebook ad to a landing page that you're trying to get people to give you their email list in order to opt in so you can start sending them your offers or your products or services or whatever it is you do, if your landing page is terrible, then chances are your opt-in rates are going to be pretty low. Same thing with the solo ads. Now, you have to look at everything from the perspective of, how many people did I get clicking on the links? Then how many people did I get opting in? How many people did I get sales from? So if you get lots and lots and lots of clicks on a pay-per-click ad, but you don't get very many opt-ins, that means that your ad's good, probably, right? But your landing page is terrible, or there's something wrong with your landing page, and you need to go in and tweak. And that's a big part about what we do, and it's kind of a recurring theme in my podcast, and I've talked about it before. You can't simply do one thing and then give up if it doesn't work. Like, well, this is a scam. This is terrible. What am I doing? This is like such a ripoff. I'm going to go back to hiring a door-to-door salesman, right? No. Please don't do that. It has nothing to do with that, right? It has to do with you being very analytical and taking a look at and analyzing the different pieces of the progression of your campaign. So you look at the ad first. You look at the clicks. If you get lots of clicks, then it's not the ad. Then look at the opt-in rate. If the opt-in rate's really, really low versus a very high rate of clicks going to the ad, then there's a disconnect there. Something's wrong, right? Same thing with solo ads. Solo ads, you have to be able to, just like with anything else I just mentioned, you have to be able to define your niche. It's so important when you're working with solo ads or pay-per-click ads at growing a targeted list of followers. And I emphasize the word targeted because if you're in the weight loss niche, you want to target people that are interested in weight loss or exercise, right? You don't want to target people that are interested in, making money online. That's the wrong niche, right? So you really want to define that correctly. And then getting back to my original point about, the pay-per-click ads, the solo providers, and analyzing that information. You want to make sure that, you're picking a solo ad provider who either provides excellently written email, because again, you're not doing an ad with a solo ad per se. You're not doing a pay-per-click ad. You're renting a list and someone's sending out an email on your behalf. So that email has to be really good. That email has to get their attention. The good news is that some solo ad providers will actually write the initial emails for you. But if you're a writer, or if you're working with someone like Anthony Morrison or someone like that, they know what they're doing. And if you're a professional writer, a copywriter, you know what you're doing. So try to find solo ad providers that will allow you to use your own email. And Udemy, I think, allows that. It depends on the solo ad provider, but at least they provide a space where you can say, use this copy. I don't want the guy to write it for me. But if you're a terrible writer, or you've never done it, or you have no idea, lots of solo ad providers will write that email for you. So again, solo ad testimonials are important. And the social proof on sites like Udemy is important, because you can look to see how effective these people are at getting leads and sales for their clients. In the end, just to emphasize what I've said, analytics, right? It's so important. Just because something isn't working doesn't mean that it's a bust. Doesn't mean that it's a scam. Doesn't mean that it's no good, right? I mean, analytics, measuring the effectiveness of a solo ad campaign is so important. How many people opted into your mailing list? What percent of people opted in? How many sales resulted in those that did opt in? These are all really important questions. And when you're doing a solo ad, when you're renting, a solo ad, or you're doing a solo ad, creating a solo ad, and you're renting this list from someone, you have got to be able to look at the effectiveness of the campaign and how well it worked and what you're doing. So as always, I'll provide links to the products and services I talk about in the description of my podcast. And I haven't been doing it, but I should probably be smart to post my other social media list, my YouTube channel and Twitter and some other things. So feel free to follow me on those. And when you follow me, hit me up with a message saying, hey, I heard your podcast, which would make my day hugely. And if I could beg people, which is what I used to do when I was a DJ, I used to beg people to bring me coffee. I had a really early show and I'd say, please, please, please bring me coffee. Anyone. And I actually did get someone come in and bring me a cup of coffee one day. So it was awesome. But not expecting you guys to bring me coffee, but hoping that at some point, we can connect on social media. So I hope you have a great week coming up, and look forward to connecting and seeing you on the next podcast. This has been Express Leads, hosted by Paul Brady of Brady Consulting and Inbound Marketing. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to leave us a voice message by visiting anchor.fm/expressleads. Thank you.